A Course in Miracles. Lesson 182, I will be still and go home. This world you seem to live in is not home to you. And somewhere in your mind you know that this is true. A memory of home keeps haunting you, as if there were a place that called you to return, although you do not recognize the voice, nor what it is the voice reminds you of. Yet still you feel an alien here, from somewhere all unknown. Nothing so definite that you could say with certainty you are an exile here. Just a persistent feeling, sometimes not more than a tiny throb, at other times hardly remembered, actively dismissed, but surely to return to mind again. The cry that won't die. This world is not your home. But like a long-term inmate, you've learned to call it that. You've painted the cell, rearranged the cot, scratched your name into the wall like it meant something. You've served time here so long, you almost forgot it was time. But still, something stirs. A distant sound echoes through the bars, not from the yard, not from the guards, but from within. A whisper so soft, it's easy to miss, but it keeps coming back. Not a demand, not a shout, just a faint pull. You don't know what it's saying. You don't remember who sent it. But part of you aches when it comes. It's the memory of something that cannot die. The throb of a name you once knew, but forgot. Like waking from a dream you can't quite shake. You can dismiss it, drown it, deny it. But it waits. And no matter how thick the walls seem, it knows how to find you. It knows where the real door is, because it never locked it. You are not home here and you know it, even if you can't say why. No one but knows whereof we speak. Yet some try to put by their suffering in games they play to occupy their time and keep their sadness from them. Others will deny that they are sad and do not recognize their tears at all. Still others will maintain that what we speak of is illusion, not to be considered more than but a dream. Yet who, in simple honesty, without defensiveness and self-deception, would deny he understands the words we speak? Games in the yard. No one here is truly fooled. Every inmate knows the weight of the sentence, even if he jokes about it. Some play cards all day, bet cigarettes, gossip about nothing, not because the games matter, but because the silence does. Some chase new routines, lift weights, keep score, call it strength. Some decorate their cells with calendars, marking days as if freedom were on the clock. Others stir up drama just to feel something, anything, besides that quiet grief underneath. Then there are those who say, I like it here. I've made peace with it. But their laughter is tight. Their eyes don't lie. They don't hear the cry anymore because they've buried it. And some, they get real clever. They say the whole prison is a dream, nothing to worry about, just wait it out. But their voice shakes when the lights go out. Because even in dreams, pain still feels like pain. But show me one soul, just one, who sits still, drops the act, and listens deep, and he'll nod, just a little, maybe nothing more than a breath, because he knows what we're saying is true. And for one instant, he stops playing, and remembers he wants to go home. We speak today for everyone who walks this world, for he is not at home. He goes uncertainly about in endless search, seeking in darkness what he cannot find, not recognizing what it is he seeks. 1,000 homes he makes, yet none contents his restless mind. He does not understand he builds in vain. The home he seeks cannot be made by him. There is no substitute for heaven. All he ever made was hell. 1,000 cells, but never home. We speak today for every prisoner who walks the yard, for none of them are home, and deep down they know it. They go from bunk to bench to gate, searching in shadows for something they never find. Some chase respect, thinking if enough men nod when they pass, they'll feel safe inside. Some hold on to letters from the outside, reading them over and over like spells that could break walls. Others find religion just to trade one form of control for another. Some build altars from commissary wrappers and line them with routines. 1,000 homes he makes and calls each one mine. The workout plan, the legal appeal, the girlfriend on the outside, the nickname he answers to now. But none of it brings peace. Not for long, not really, because the restless mind is a pacing inmate. Even if you bolt the door, it never sits still. It circles, it argues, it plans, it judges. It rearranges the furniture of the cell and calls it progress. He builds in vain, because every brick is fear, every nail is guilt, every wall is made to keep light out. He thinks the home he seeks can be made by a version of himself that doesn't even exist. How can a ghost build a sanctuary? There is no substitute for heaven. Not comfort, not order, not routine. There is no substitute for God. Not power, not praise, not safety. There is no substitute for love. Not loyalty, not agreement, not a promised visit. There is no substitute for innocence. And everything he made from fear, made from lack, made from time, will break. Because all he ever made was hell. And hell always rusts, always rots, always dies. Perhaps you think it is your childhood home that you would find again. The childhood of your body and its place of shelter are a memory now so distorted that you merely hold a picture of a past that never happened. Yet there is a child in you who seeks his father's house and knows that he is alien here. This childhood is eternal, with an innocence that will endure forever. Where this child shall go is holy ground. It is his holiness that lights up heaven, and that brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above, wherein are earth and heaven joined as one. The child remembers, the inmate pretends. Maybe you think it's your childhood home you miss. The porch with the swing, the hallway light left on, the voice that tucked you in. But that home was a picture, a filtered memory, drawn by a prisoner scratching on the wall. You don't miss the past. You miss the truth behind it. Because there's a child in you, capital C, who never played those ego games. He never bought into the sentence, never signed the warden's name. He walks these prison halls untouched, not because he escaped, but because he never entered. And where he walks, even inside these walls, the ground turns holy, because innocence walks with him. And that innocence is not of this world. It doesn't come from good behavior, or earned forgiveness, or perfect records. It is eternal. And when the child is remembered, heaven shines through the cracks. Not because the prison gets sanctified, but because you stop mistaking it for reality. And in that moment, earth and heaven are joined. Not because the illusion became truth, but because the illusion stepped aside. Heaven didn't come down, and earth didn't rise up. What's false just grew still, and what's real was seen again. For one instant, you saw both worlds overlap, like a light shining through a ghost. That's the child's power, not to fix the prison, but to reveal it was never there. You see it, don't you, companion? The child doesn't walk out the gate. He walks through the wall because the wall was never real. It is this child in you your father knows as his own son. It is this child who knows his father. He desires to go home so deeply, so unceasingly, his voice cries unto you to let him rest a while. He does not ask for more than just a few instants of respite, just an interval in which he can return to breathe again the holy air that fills his Father's house. You are his home as well. He will return. But give him just a little time to be himself, within the peace that is his home, resting in silence and in peace and love. The cry that breaks the sentence. It is this child in you, the one untouched by time, who your Father knows as his own. Not the role you play in the yard, not the record they stamped on your name, but the real you, the one no sentence ever reached. This child does not forget the Father, and his cry, "O companion, it's not of this world." It's not rage, not sorrow, not shame. It's a longing too pure for bars to silence. And he cries, not to escape, but to return. Not to the past, but to what was never left. He doesn't ask you to tear down the prison. He only asks for a moment. Just a little space in your mind. An interval of stillness where he can breathe again. To feel again the holy air of home. You are his resting place. You are the silence he enters when you drop your defenses. You are the pause, the gap in the noise, the doorway not made by hands. Give him that, and he will return. Not from far away, but from beneath your forgetting. Let him be himself in you, for just a moment. And you'll remember, you are not a prisoner. You are home, and always were. This child needs your protection. He is far from home. He is so little that he seems so easily shut out. His tiny voice so readily obscured. His call for help almost unheard amid the grating sounds and harsh and rasping noises of the world. Yet does he know that in you still abides his sure protection? You will fail him not. He will go home, and you along with him, the innocent one you carry. This child, the Holy One within, needs your protection now. Not because he is weak, but because you've forgotten how strong he is. He walks with you, in this prison dream, not trapped, but carried. He is far from home only in your mind. He is so still, so gentle, that even the echo of steel gates can seem to drown him out. His voice is quiet, not because he is unsure, but because he doesn't compete with noise. And the world is full of noise. The clanging of judgment, the shouting of fear, the rasp of guilt scraping against the walls. But still, beneath all that, he calls. And his call is not outside of you. It rises from within. For in you still abides his protection. You are the guardian of what is true. And though you've played the prisoner, the fighter, the one forgotten by time, you will not fail him. Not because of effort, but because of who you truly are. You were made to carry him home, and he was never separate from you. He doesn't go home alone. He brings you with him, because he is you, unburdened, unchanged, uncondemned. And you will go home, not by breaking out, but by letting go. This child is your defenselessness, your strength. He trusts in you. He came because he knew you would not fail. He whispers of his home unceasingly to you. For he would bring you back with him, that he himself might stay and not return again where he does not belong, and where he lives an outcast in a world of alien thoughts. His patience has no limits. He will wait until you hear his gentle voice within you, calling you to let him go in peace, along with you, to where he is at home, and you with him. He is you, calling you to himself. This child is your defenselessness and your strength, not weakness, not naivety, but power that doesn't need to attack. He trusts you, because he knows you're not what you pretend to be in here. He came into this dream because he knew you would listen, eventually. He never stops whispering of home. He doesn't shout, doesn't argue, just keeps speaking the memory you forgot. not to convince you, but to remind you. He would bring you back with him, not as two, but as one mind remembering itself. For he himself cannot stay in this illusion, this place of foreign thoughts, of alien values, of empty goals. And yet, he waits. He walks the yard with you, watches your defenses, sees your pacing, but never condemns, never rushes, because his patience is eternal. He knows you'll hear him again, and when you do, you'll let him go in peace. Not leave him, but join him. Not die, but awaken. You think he is someone else, calling from beyond. But when you turn toward the voice, you'll see your own face looking back. And you'll laugh and cry and understand. There was never anyone else. Only the one you truly are, calling you back to where you never left. When you are still an instant, when the world recedes from you, when valueless ideas cease to have value in your restless mind, then will you hear his voice. So poignantly he calls to you that you will not resist him longer. In that instant, he will take you to his home, and you will stay with him in perfect stillness, silent and at peace, beyond all words, untouched by fear and doubt, sublimely certain that you are at home. The moment the bars disappear, when you are still for just an instant, the whole prison fades. The clang of gates recedes, the yard quiets, the noise pulls back like a tide. You don't escape the world by force, it just moves to the background, because you stopped believing in it. The valueless ideals lose their shine, like stripes on a uniform you no longer wear. Reputation, control, revenge, survival, status. These were the gods of the yard, and now they mean nothing to you. And your restless mind, pacing, planning, defending, grows still. That mind with 1,000 escape plans, 100 fears, 12 regrets, now sits quietly, like a cell with the door open and no one left inside. Then you hear him, not a command, not a speech, just a voice that pierces every layer of pretense. So poignantly he calls, you cannot resist. It could happen anywhere, on the yard, in the hole, over a bowl of soup, because it's not about location, it's about surrender. In that one instant, he takes you to his home, and there is no travel, no motion, just stillness. Perfect stillness, where there is no noise, no need, no fight, where the silence is not empty, but full, where peace is not earned, but recognized, beyond all words, because words could never hold this, beyond all fear, because there's nothing to guard, beyond all doubt, because the truth no longer needs to be proven. And there, in that sublime certainty, you remember, you are home, not because you arrived, but because you stopped pretending you left. Rest with him frequently today. For he was willing to become a little child that you might learn of him. How strong is he who comes without defenses, offering only love's messages to those who think he is their enemy. He holds the might of heaven in his hand and calls them friend, and gives his strength to them, that they may see he would be friend to them. He asks that they protect him, for his home is far away, and he will not return to it alone. Walk in the yard without a weapon. Rest with him today. Often, he came to walk these prison halls, not as an inmate, but as a guide. He made himself small, gentle, so you wouldn't be afraid to follow him. He shows you that true strength never attacks. He speaks love to those who still call him enemy, to the ones who mock, who challenge, who raise fists. He calls them brother, not in sarcasm, but in certainty. He carries the might of heaven in his hand, but not to strike, to offer. He gives his strength to the very ones who think they must defend themselves from him. He gives his peace to the ones who still feel dangerous. He asks only this, that they protect him now. Not because he is weak, but because he has chosen to be vulnerable in their world. He has come far, into the heart of the dream, to remind you of what is true. But he cannot return home alone, because you are part of him, and where he goes, you go also. He is the part of you that remembers, the still flame that never went out, and now he walks these shadowed corridors with open hands. No armor, no anger, no fear, only the quiet strength that comes from knowing nothing real can be threatened, and he invites you to walk beside him, not as one condemned, but as one awakened. Christ is reborn as but a little child each time a wanderer would leave his home. For he must learn that what he would protect is but this child who comes defenseless and who is protected by defenselessness. Go home with him from time to time today. You are as much an alien here as he. The child rises where you fell asleep. Oh yes, mighty companion, this one touches the pulse of the dream. Christ is reborn as but a little child each time a wanderer would leave his home. That line is a whole resurrection teaching in itself. Every time the mind believes the lie of separation, every time it takes the bait of exile, every time it forgets where it truly lives, the Christ child reappears, not to shame, not to scold, but to lead us back. He doesn't come with a sword, he comes defenseless, because only what needs no defense cannot be attacked. This is the paradox of heaven. What protects you is your openness, not your guard, not your toughness, not your story. Christ is reborn as a little child every time you wander from home. Every time you choose the yard over the light, the sentence over the freedom, he shows up, not to drag you back, but to walk with you out of the illusion. He rises inside your mind, right where you believed you fell. And he comes small, quiet, gentle, so you won't fear him. You think you're protecting yourself, building walls, hardening up. But what you're meant to protect is him. And he is not guarded by weapons or plans. He is protected by defenselessness, because what is truly strong needs no armor. What cannot be harmed requires no defense. Go home with him today, from time to time. Let the gates fade, let the noise dissolve, let the game pause. You are not from here. You are as much a stranger in this place as he is. You've worn the uniform so long you forgot it doesn't fit. You've spoken the language of guilt so long you forgot it isn't yours. But he remembers. And every time you forget, he is born again. Not in the world, but in your mind. To meet you where you think you are, and gently lead you back. Take time today to lay aside your shield, which profits nothing, and lay down the spear and sword you raised against an enemy without existence. Christ has called you friend and brother. He has even come to ask your help in letting him go home today, completed and completely. He has come as does a little child who must beseech his father for protection and for love. He rules the universe, and yet he asks unceasingly that you return with him and take illusions as your gods no more, the sword that never protected you. This is where the sword drops from your hand. This is where the ego's last defense, the one it raised even against God, is quietly exposed as empty. And what does Christ do in this holy moment? He comes not with thunder, but as a child who beseeches, not because he lacks power, but because your freedom must be chosen. This is the paradox. He rules the universe, yet will not override your will. He waits, not because he is weak, but because love waits on welcome, not on demand. And now we bring it all together, your weapons, your illusions, your imagined enemies, and lay them down. Take time today to lay down your shield. You've carried it so long, but it never kept you safe. Lay down the spear, the sword, the sharp words and quiet judgments. You raised them against an enemy that doesn't exist. You've even raised them against God, thinking He was the warden. But Christ has called you friend. He has called you brother. And now He comes, not as a king, but as a child, to ask your help, to ask you to let Him go home today, completed and completely. What does that mean? It means He cannot return without you, because your mind and His are not separate. He has come as any child would come, not with force, but with a plea. He beseeches you, not with desperation, but with love. He asks, not because He lacks, but because you forgot how to receive. And here's the mystery. He rules the universe. Every star, every law, every unseen order of light answers to Him. And yet, He asks unceasingly, not to take anything from you, but to give you back yourself. He asks without stopping, because He never gave up on your return. He watches you bow to your gods of illusion. Control, status, image, pain, memory, pride. He sees how you offer your time to them, your thoughts to them, your prayers to them. And He asks again and again, will you come with me? Will you come home? You have not lost your innocence. It is for this you yearn. This is your heart's desire. This is the voice you hear, and this the call which cannot be denied. The Holy Child remains with you. His home is yours. Today He gives you His defenselessness, and you accept it in exchange for all the toys of battle you have made. And now the way is open, and the journey has an end in sight at last. Be still an instant and go home with Him, and be at peace a while. The final breath before the gate disappears. Now we arrive at the final breath of the lesson. Not an ending, but the still point where time pauses, where the war is over. And the child is not just remembered, he is recognized as you. This is the paragraph where we stop trying to deserve innocence and finally receive it. The longing that never left, the ache that whispers when all is quiet. That is not your weakness. That is your holiness trying to break through.